Yes, that's right. The Survivor Know-It-Alls are back. Season 30. Stephen Fishbach, can you believe it?
Wait, are we on? Are we live?
Yes.
I
Yes.
looked away. Wow!
What a way to start season 30. Blindside.
Blindside podcast. That's amazing, Rob. Exciting episode. I'm so excited to see you. This is really the only way we hang out. So, Survivor for me is an opportunity to hang out with you. Are you standing podcasting?
It's a mystery.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It looks like you're standing, which I hear is great for your lumbar spine.
We'll see. We'll see. Maybe that mystery will be revealed at some point in this podcast tonight. Stephen Fishbach, we are here live. It's Survivor 30. Episode number 1 is in the book, Survivor Worlds Apart. You and I have been worlds apart since our last podcast. I don't think we've actually spoken since we hung up on the last Know-It-Alls call, but here we are.
That's it. We give it our all in every podcast. We have nothing left to give. Nothing left to suck after the last Know-It-Alls.
And here we are. We're back, ready to start another season live after each episode of Survivor. And Stephen Fishbach, we are just 2 weeks away from our next face-to-face meeting live, coming to you from the Gotham Comedy Club 2 weeks from tonight for live Know-It-Alls number 2.
Sold out the big room this time. Last time when I walked into the Gotham Comedy Club, the bouncer was like, "Who here is for the Survivor show?" And I was the only one to raise my hand. This time it's going to be everybody. I mean, last time we had a sold out.
We sold out the small room last time.
We sold out the small room, but I was upstairs, and they were just trying to redirect the one or two of us who were in the wrong room. This time we've sold out the big room, which is big.
Yeah, so that's by definition, the big room is big.
Yeah.
So we have a lot to do here. Very excited to be back here after a very fun premiere, 90 minutes in the books. We watched it live. And I'm sure we're going to get into everything, white collar, blue collar, no collar along the way. Let's just set up what we're going to do here tonight. If this is your first Survivor Know-It-Alls, welcome aboard. We've got the chat room going here on robhasawebsite.com. We take your tweets with the hashtag RHAP, and then also on our YouTube channel at robhasawebsite.com/YouTube. I am going to not only talk to Stephen Fishbach tonight, I will be speaking with the latest person, the first person kicked off of Survivor. Say it ain't so, Stephen.
Oh my gosh, truly one of the worst lies. And the best part about that terrible lie is they planned it. I mean, we'll talk about that in a minute, but she has to be one of the worst liars in the history of the show.
Now, you think she was a good liar, a bad liar, or neutral?
She, there are a lot of caveats to my thoughts about this, but I would have to say just horrible.
Yes, all right. So I will be speaking with So, and I think I might have to let So know that maybe it was the universe is telling her she should not be playing Survivor. I think that the universe is trying to stop her in whatever way it can from getting her past day 4 of Survivor. Whatever roadblocks it can put in her way.
Have there been other roadblocks other than being bad at it?
Well, that she went out there for Survivor 29.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yes, her and her sister were the pair that got cut from Survivor 29. So it keeps getting in her way.
Wow. What did they get cut? It's terrible. What did they get cut?
Medical is like RC and her dad.
Oh, wow. That's so interesting. So interesting.
So interesting.
Oh,
all right, so I will speak with So, and then, Stephen, we get start our regular recap podcast. I'm going to do it every Thursday, the whole way through these marathon podcasts that I make on Thursdays.
You make long podcasts.
I make long podcasts. Hey, people have long commutes, Stephen.
No, you know what? I love a long podcast. You get immersed. You get like a back and forth.
Immersed. That's a different show.
You get immersed? Yeah. Who's your guest?
All right, the reigning Miss Survivor. In her first act as Miss Survivor, Natalie Anderson will appear on the podcast.
Awesome. That's
Maybe we can get some Nadia action, too, to talk about first boots on Survivor.
Wait, so who won? Can you brief me on who won the Mr. and Miss? Well, I know Natalie won.
Last night we crowned Natalie as Miss Survivor and Spencer Bledsoe. They said he had zero chance.
Wow.
Zero chance.
But he did it.
He did it. Wow.
The reigning Mr. Survivor. So I will speak with Natalie Anderson in her first act as Miss Survivor on Thursday. And then I will be taking your voicemails with Josh Wigler, of course, who is an authority on Survivor, does all sorts of Survivor content for Parade Magazine. Of course, my partner on The Evolution of Strategy, a 30-season rewatch of Survivor, Stephen. So
unbelievable that you guys are doing that.
get your voicemails in. Get your voicemails in for Josh and I. robhasawebsite.com/voicemail or 323-282-RHAP. That's all coming up Thursday. Just make sure you're locked in, everybody. We've got about literally 4,000 podcasts coming out for Survivor Worlds Apart this season. So go to robhasawebsite.com/iTunes or click the podcast tab.
There's an app?
Yeah, or get the Rob Has a Podcast app available for Android or iOS devices. robhasawebsite.com/app. Okay, Stephen, let's get into this tonight. And our top story at this hour, you just knew that the white collar tribe was going to this first tribal council, right?
Well, out of the gate, they look actually pretty strong. I didn't know necessarily out of the gate that they were. You felt like out of the gate this was the worst tribe.
I just felt like this is so Survivor that the tribe, just like the Brains tribe is going to go to the first tribal council, whatever tribe is sort of set up to be like the villains of the group, they are going to go to the tribal council. Ironically, the heroes went to the first tribal council. It's very heroes versus villains. But most times, whatever tribe is sort of set up to be the tribe that we're not supposed to be rooting for, that's the tribe that's going to your first tribal council.
But there is a thing with like the tribe that is least going to get along, right? And that was true of the heroes. It was all these like big macho alpha dudes, and like they were never going to really get along well with each other. Like they had that problem throughout the whole season. Like, who's the leader? And I think maybe that was true of the white collar too, right? Like everyone thought they were sort of the executive, and no one could be the laborer.
Yeah, I will say that the white-collar tribe got along with each other much better than we probably would have anticipated. Just sort of like in the Brains tribe, it was sort of every man for himself, every woman for herself. In this tribe, it really wasn't the case. They seemed to have pretty good chemistry. They just sort of fell apart on the puzzle. Stephen, as a puzzle expert...
50 pieces is a lot. But... that said, like the way that Probst pitched it, right, was these three puzzles are the same amount of time. I don't believe that. Looking at that puzzle, that 50-piece puzzle looked like it was much harder than the other. I mean, there was just more to do, and it was challenging. There was a visual component to that 50-piece puzzle. I mean, just given those choices, 50 is a gimme, 10 is going to be hard, 5 is going to be really hard. I might choose the 50 gimme and just hope for speed. But looking at it, it was not a gimme. Yeah.
Stephen, as the puzzle expert, you say go with the 50 if you have a lead like the white collar tribe did?
I mean, I would have said that. Now, seeing what I saw, I would not say that. The other thing is that, I mean, the blue collar tribe saw the no collar tribe's finished puzzle, so they had a giant advantage in that they could look at a model of how to complete it.
Yes. Would you have taken the 5-piece puzzle if you were out there?
No, that would terrify me. Those 5-piece ones are always impossibly hard, right?
Yeah, but it was just supposed to be a square. You would think, I mean, I'd like to get my hands on it. Like, It's not like it was like a 5-piece puzzle of a shape you never saw before.
Yeah. You have a young child. Does he do 5-piece puzzles?
He doesn't really get the puzzle. He could stack things, but he doesn't really get the puzzles.
Right.
Yeah, I really thought the 50-piece puzzle was going to be like, that thing like where they make it's just like the numbers like 1 to 100.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what I thought the 50-piece puzzle was going to be, but it actually looked kind of complicated.
There was a visual. It looked as hard as the other two puzzles, and also there were many, many more pieces. That said, Shireen did a terrible job. I mean, at least from the edit, it looked like she did 4 pieces in the time that Max did 40. I mean, she really did a bad job.
Yes. Okay, so we get to our first tribal council, and it was going to be So versus Carolyn. That was sort of set up in the narrative. Are you surprised Carolyn did not play the hidden immunity idol?
I was surprised. I was even thinking, like, Carolyn, whether or not you go home, you should play the idol. You are not that certain. But I'm on the fence about that because ultimately in Survivor, what makes you a good player, what gets you to the end, is your ability to read people. And Carolyn, we've seen this episode, is a pretty good read of people. So if she had such a good read that she was sure that she had her 4 votes locked up, then, it's the right move.
Yeah, it's always the right move if you don't play the idol and you don't go home. But I just am of the mind, like...
That's very result-oriented thinking, Rob. It's not necessarily the case that just because the results are right that the thinking was right.
Yeah, I would say play the idol. Just no matter what. Just say, hey, well, let me just get it out there. I'm feeling 50-50. Let me play the idol.
And they're like literally talking about her. Like So's literally saying, yes, we are voting you out tonight. You know that at least 2 of those 6 votes are coming your way. Are you that sure of the other 3 people?
Yeah. Well, it was really just 2 other people. I mean, are you that sure about Max and Tyler? And
Right.
Tyler was talking up how great So was in the challenge, and Max is talking about how he'd be such a good liar. So, I mean, those 2 pieces of evidence would make me very suspicious. I think I would have played the idol, and I know she was right to, it worked out for her. But I think I would have been nervous enough that my name is coming up. I would have played that idol no matter what.
Idols are not like... Yeah, I mean, people might like overestimate the value of the idol, right? How often is the idol actually played? It's useful as an alliance tool, which it seems like she's already used it for with Tyler. Play the freaking idol if there's a shot you're going home. But that was a weird tribal council. Everyone was so incredibly honest with each other. That was what was most surprising to me, Rob, was that people were like, here's my alliance, and here's who we're voting for. You don't see that.
You don't see it very often, and I saw people on Twitter were saying it was shades of Garrett what So did. She basically outed her alliance of 4 people and said, okay, well, Carolyn, you're going home. The 4 decided on it, and Carolyn was like, okay, well, what's this about? And yeah, I'll tell you about the 4, and it's me, Joaquin, and Tyler, and Max. And it looked like for a second Max was getting caught up that he was playing both sides.
But because then Carolyn said it's me, Shireen, and Max.
Yeah. Yes. So we would see if maybe this is going to create problems for Max down the road of like, hey, who are you really with as far as if Joaquin. I don't know if you need to worry about Joaquin too much, but I thought this was a really, really interesting thing to come up at the Tribal Council. And then, as you mentioned, Carolyn is outing her 3.
Well, the crazy thing then is that Carolyn says to So, you told me point blank that you weren't voting for me. And So says, yes, that's right. Everyone told me to lie to you. Like, what? What a strange, just peeling back of the layers of deception of this game. Like, it was just it was so blunt and honest in this very strange way.
Yeah, and I'll add to that when Max talked about the lie that everybody just sort of outed what was going on. First Shireen outed the whole thing with Joaquin and So and talked about how, look, this isn't adding up. I've seen 30 seasons of this show. I think that they have the hidden immunity idol. And So's like, well, I didn't really want it to come out this way.
Yeah.
And Max says, yeah, I would have done the same thing as what they did, but I would have been a better liar about it. So everybody is really just like, here's my cards, everybody.
Yeah, it was, and I actually since Cochran, I've thought that's actually a pretty good strategy, is to go out there and say, here's my strategy. That's basically what Cochran did, right? He wasn't as transparent as these people. He wasn't like, he was actually my lie. He wasn't as translucent as these people. Here's my lie, and here's my alliance. But he would talk through his game thinking overall. But not as effective when you're literally saying, my alliance of these people have told me to lie to you because we are voting you out.
Yeah. Stephen, do you feel like is this an evolution of the game? I mean, for the most part, you have people here who seem like they know the game particularly well in, Max and Shireen. Carolyn talked about how, she sees things on the show. I believe Tyler has seen the show quite a bit. Really only Joaquin is the only person from this group that doesn't seem like they know the show at all. Do you think that this is something new that's developing?
It's an interesting idea, the idea that everything is so meta, and there's such an assumption that people are lying, and an assumption that people are playing the game and building alliances. Maybe they're all going to be out there. I mean, I guess it's a thing we can wait and see.
Do you agree with the decision to vote out So over Carolyn?
I mean, agree with it from whose perspective, right? I agree with it from Carolyn's perspective.
Yeah. I guess it would probably be from the perspective of, I almost feel like when Carolyn shows Tyler that she has the idol, it's almost like he's the swing vote, as Max set it up. It all depends on what the big man is going to do.
Yeah.
And I guess unless he was just trying to flush the idol, I feel like that decision is made for him at that point.
Yeah, when he knows that she has the idol. Yeah, it's interesting because, if it is, truly Max, Shireen, and Carolyn versus Joaquin and So, Wouldn't it behoove Tyler to sort of join Joaquin and so just from a purely numerical perspective and vote out one of Max Carolyn? I don't know. It's hard because presumably there will be a swap at some time. You have to think about that. I think that so the question is, did Tyler make the right move? I think Tyler probably made the right move. I think he entered an alliance where he's probably more valued, where he can build stronger connections, and where he'll be more dominant. But Joaquin and So clearly had almost like too tight a thing from the get-go.
Are you surprised that none of the guys were on the table? I know it seemed like just from immediately after they lost the challenge, everybody was talking about well, it has to be a woman tonight. Yeah. So I guess that narrows it down to it's either Carolyn versus So. I mean, we've seen tribes before get rid of a strong guy or a male player early on in a six-person tribe before. Even strapping guys such as myself. So, Stephen, are you surprised that the men weren't even considered for going out or first?
Well, it is. It looks like at least on this tribe, you have three really big guys, and Carolyn and Shireen don't look that athletic. So I'm not surprised. I think that when you are thinking with tribes of six, you know that they're really numbers advantages are going to be razor thin. You want to keep your numbers. I would keep the big guys too.
And one of the other big strategic things that came up in the episode tonight was this idea, which we talked about how badly it worked out with Joaquin and So. Was the take the clue to the idol or to take the quote-unquote bigger bag of beans? We saw how it ended up not really working out so great for So and Joaquin, but was it the decision that was bad, or was it the execution of it?
I mean, I think it's bad. I think the decision is like a 60-40 decision. Personally, I think that the right decision in this case is you take the bag of beans, you take the big bag of beans, and tell the truth. I think it's too.
But that backfired too for the blue collar tribe.
Well, I think that there's a way, right? I mean, first of all, it's dangerous to take deceive because two other tribes have this option. You don't know what's going to come up at the next challenge. You don't know if Jeff Probst is going to say, "Hey guys, you were presented with a choice. What choice did you choose?" You don't know if one of the other tribes is just going to shout it out at the next challenge. Hey, we chose. Did you guys choose truth? Like, what was your choice? So I think it's a pretty dangerous. I think it's pretty dangerous. Not only that, the deceive bag is a tiny little bag of beans. Like, it's basically asking. It's begging the tribe to ask the question of what was the other choice. It's begging them to kind of interrogate what you did. So and Joaquin could not have made a worse decision here in terms of choosing to deceive, lying about it terribly, and then not even finding the idol. They really screwed the pooch. But is there a way to tell the truth and not look bad?
Well, the whole thing that happened on the blue collar tribe was Mike and Dan went over, and they actually picked the honesty. Honest. And they went back and they told everybody. Is the mistake in telling everybody about the choice because is people's natural instinct on Survivor is to believe you're lying even if you're telling the truth? Are you screwed by even mentioning, hey, everybody, I just want to let you know I had a choice?
Yeah, I think as soon as you mention deception, people are going to, it puts the idea of deception in their heads, right? And this is a similar question to this tribal council question for the white collar tribe. Are people being too honest now? For whatever reason, are people being too transparent about the game they're playing and about the different options that are available to them?
Because ideally on Survivor, the best lies are kind of the truth, but also just twisted a little bit. So when you come back and you tell the truth, are people saying, okay, well, what was the real story? Just like with the white collar tribe was able to suss out where the neutral was not a real option there. It's almost like when the blue collar guys came back and talked about the choice that was made, everybody else was saying, okay, let's suss out what was really going on here, and are assuming that they're lying because the bag of beans wasn't big enough.
I mean, the thing is, right, as soon as you've elected to separate yourself in any way, by being a leader, by making a choice, people are going to look at that as an opportunity to target you. Whether or not it's fair, There's no question that no matter what you do, people will say they screwed us, they made the wrong decision, they're lying to us, they're cheating us because you have stepped out, because you are in the spotlight. And people on Survivor are scared. They're looking for a way to make bonds with each other and target you. And it's especially true if you have a bond, right? You're shown to be two instead of one. It's almost more dangerous. You've got Mike and Dan. You've got So and Joaquin. You know, you've got these pairs on a 6-person tribe. It's very easy for other people to say those two are scary, right? So I think that there's almost no good solution there except to not be the one, to Max's point, not be the one making that decision.
You know, I talked about this in the podcast that I had done with David Bloomberg last week, where in a group of 6, when you're 2 right off the bat, is it advantageous to be in the 2 because now you just need to recruit 1 or 2 more people to have a voting block? Or are you worse off to be in the 2 because it maybe fosters the 4 other people against you? Just in my own personal experience from Survivor All-Stars, Rob and Amber get together early on, day 1, boom, and then the rest of everybody else starts falling in line around them. We saw the opposite happen here with So and Joaquin tonight, where those 2 are together in a tight 2, and it almost bonded the other 4 people against them.
Because they were lying, though. I mean, because they came out of the gate and were, like, transparently lying to people. I mean, what happened on the Philippines was different because you had these tribe leaders, so that sort of, like, put a weird spin on it where you did kind of have that one person who was the target. You know, I mean, with Angie and Malcolm, right? Like, people wanted Angie out because she seemed to be Malcolm's cuddle buddy.
Yes, that's true. That was a little bit of a different scenario too. That Zane, crazy Zane, was already out, and I believe also the great Roxy also was out second in that season. So Angie was still around for a little bit, so she made it through the group of 6. But interesting. I think it's going to be interesting to see now with Mike and Dan in the blue collar tribe. Let's shift over to them for a little bit. They came back, and we mentioned about how people were questioning. It was Sierra and Lindsay were the 2 people that were calling those 2 out, at least in their own private conversation, about are they buying into that theory. Do you think that Mike and Dan are set up well, where they can then pull people into their twosome plus whoever, or do you think that the other 4 people will align against them?
I mean, it sure looks like the latter's happening, right? Who's aligning with Mike? Nobody likes Dan, right? And Rodney's already.
Why not? He can juggle.
He can juggle, but
you like juggling.
I do love juggling. You know me very well.
Yes.
But he is going to break the bamboo. Bamboo is hollow, Rob.
I guess so.
That is the stupidest decision I've ever heard. This idea that you think that Dan could get in. That is the dumbest thing that I've ever heard.
I didn't like eating the scorpion.
The scorpion was. I mean, I was in that position kind of where you're like, I'm on Survivor, I'm going to eat a bug. But
yeah.
A scorpion is poisonous. Like,
yes.
You know that. Why? Just because you cut off the tail doesn't make it less poisonous.
Yeah, that's one of my pet peeves when people have to start eating bugs on day 1. It's like, I'm a Survivor, I'm going to eat a bug.
Just because you're squeamish and you're scared of bugs, don't belittle the rest of us.
Look, Steven, I was in a gross food competition. I've eaten the bugs. So I know what it takes to eat the bugs. And I know you don't need to eat the bugs on day 1. Yeah. So stop with eating the bugs on day 1, Survivor.
Yeah, you were on like beach seasons with coconuts and things. Some of us have suffered in our lives.
Yes, that's me. That's me. I'm a regular coconut vendor.
You're a coconut bandit.
Let's talk about the No Collar Tribe because what great fun this group has turned out to be, and really all of the drama surrounds Vince. And I really enjoyed Jen on this episode. I thought she gives great confessional. I think she's going to be very fun to watch this season. And how about this Survivor love triangle, which is developed between Vince and Jen and Joe?
So amazing. So amazing.
No, So is on the other group. This is Jen amazing.
Jen amazing. Vince is just like this over-attached boyfriend who is... I mean, first of all, like if you just watched where his eyes were flicking, every time the camera cut to him when he was talking to Jen, like he could not look at her in the face.
Yeah.
Because he was looking at her in the boobs.
Yes, yes, that's
Yeah.
the Vince move. He was looking at her coconuts.
Yeah, he was he was a coconut vendor in that moment.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and just some of the creepiest moments, truly, in Survivor history. The great Joe Reed, very successful blogger, commented like, "Is he the creepiest contestant in Survivor history?"
I think I played with maybe one of the creepier contestants in Survivor history.
Rudy? That's so rude, Rudy.
Watching Fishback, I know people, and so no, I think there's probably been way creepier people than Joe. I would think so, right?
No, not so. I wouldn't say so.
Not so. It's not so. Yeah, but Vince, I mean, for so many reasons, this is going to work out much better for us in terms of doing this show. But that being said, I did find that the Vince stuff was absolutely amazing. Is Vince the first one out of the no collar tribe, Steven?
I actually kind of think that they're suggesting Joe might be the first one out for, I think they're gonna Vince would be the obvious one, right? They are all illed out by him, but for whatever reason, I feel like Vince is getting the full, I'm going to have a vendetta against Joe and sabotage him. My hope is that Vince stays, actually, right? Because Vince is gold.
Yeah, Vince is gold, and I hope that he sticks around because Joe was really good. I thought that Joe winner's edit, Steven.
The thing is, it's like I can't go down this path, but I would say that 100% Joe is going to win this season, without any question about it.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk to me about some other standouts that you had tonight.
I want to talk about awkward Huggate still more. Was that not the most? That was so uncomfortable.
That was so bad. Everything about that was really, really bad.
And it just was truly the overtaxed boyfriend. Well, I want you. She's like, I'm into this. I'm committed to you. She's like, I want to believe that, but I'm just not seeing it from you. I'm just not seeing the commitment from you. And she's like, no, I'm committed. And, well, I'm gonna need a hug then. It was so creepy and manipulative and terrible. It was television gold.
Yeah, Steven, what's with the hashtag the hashtag drought that we're seeing on Survivor?
Survivor. No, yeah, that good call.
Yeah, what's up with that? I feel like this was season 27. We would have gotten a hashtag there.
What would the hashtag have been for that moment?
It's awkward Huggate.
Huggate?
But we think that'd be tough.
You don't think hug meltdown or something?
Hug meltdown? That would be good. Yeah. I think we need to maybe, as we're watching the show, I think we need to call out what the hashtags are. I think we need to have some sort of official hashtag that people can use, so we all know what we're talking about. The same thing. Yeah. I gotta, be faster on the hashtag creation during the episode. But Jen was caught in a tough spot, I was thinking. I was watching that point in the episode because she's in that spot where it's like, hey, are you in the alliance with me?
Yeah.
And it's like, what are you talking about? Of course I'm into you. Of course, what do you mean?
Well, it was so weird when Vince was like, are you attracted to him at all? You don't even find him remotely attractive? What a strange remark to make. Does Vince know that he's making these insane remarks on, day 2 to a girl about that he's just met? He thinks they're dating, right? He really thinks they're dating.
Thinks they're dating.
But yeah, no, I agree with you. I think Jen did a great job of diffusing it.
Well, that's the thing about Survivor. It's sort of it's a little bit of on being in a car accident where it's just you could just boom, okay, now all of a sudden you're stuck in a very confrontational situation with a total stranger.
Yeah.
And now it's here you are, you're stuck with this person, and now he's he thinks you're an item, and now you got to talk your way out of it.
Yeah, it's that really is one of the it's funny to see people how much better they become at it throughout the season. Where early on people are a little bit uncomfortable with lying and a little bit one of my favorites was Joaquin's lie, where Carolyn asks him who are you voting for, and he tries to sort of talk around it in this weird way where he's like, I made up my mind, I'm a rock. I'm voting for who I'm voting for. And Karen's like, well, what does that mean? He's like, then he gets it oh, I'm not voting for you. But it takes him a minute to get there, Yeah.
I felt like the natural follow-up question was, well, who are you voting for?
Yeah. I think at that point Carolyn knew. The fact that they couldn't look at her in the eye and were shuffling their feet and were I'm voting for someone, me.
Yeah.
I think there was no follow-up question necessary.
Yes. Steven, what was your first impression, Max Dawson, the Survivor player tonight?
I thought he was great. He did a great job out of the gate. I mean, the problem was a little bit he seemed to be, with a little bit of like the I would lie really well stuff, and it seemed like he was trying a little bit hard. But I mean, he's been super fan of the show for so long that I get that idea of like out of the gate someone like really wanting to to like kill it out of the gate. I mean, it's dangerous though, right? Like you saw that with RC in her season, where RC was like chomping at the bit so hard that she just overplayed.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a natural thing that, you've watched the show for so long, you want to be out there so bad, you want to be memorable, you want to make a big first impression.
Right.
I do think that Max ended up with a very soft landing with this group. He has some fast allies. He looks like he's in good with Shireen, in good with Tyler, and I think he's in a good spot here in this group.
I mean, really, he's the one who had alliances with everybody, right? Like, as So pointed out, like, she was with Max, Shireen was with Max, Carolyn is with Max. Max is the one who has those alliances across the board. It's a great position to be in on day 3.
Yeah, very exciting. Let's just quickly go through anybody else that made a memorable debut.
I like Tyler a lot. I really like Tyler. Yeah, I thought that in that tribal council where everybody was like telling the truth, Tyler was the only one who was like picking his words carefully. He was the only one who wasn't playing for the cameras or wasn't, being insanely honest, or he was the one who was playing for the people. And he made that, to your point, he made that remark about So. She's a great, challenge performer. When Probst asked him a question about like the dissension in the tribe, he's like, the real enemies are the other 2 tribes. He was making political comments. He's I thought, in some of his pregame stuff, I was worried that he was kind of going to be he was going to try hard to be a villain. I actually was like really delighted that he sort of took a step back a little bit. Was happy to kind of hang back, managed to suss out Carolyn, managed to get her to admit that she had an idol to him. He's the one everyone is going to find out what he's up to. I think that's a great position to be in for him, and he's playing it perfectly.
What was your take on Rodney after one episode?
I mean, yeah, that whole thing, like, did his sister die?
I mean, I think that it would go pretty far to put the tattoo on if that was not the case.
Right,
sure.
But that's like, I mean, but isn't it even worse that it's like, he's like, well, I've got this story about my sister being killed,
well,
so I'm going to use that to emotionally manipulate
people. I think what he was saying there, I don't think it was necessarily that I'm going to manipulate, because I think he said that I know that story gets women to open up to me. And I'm going to use that. Not necessarily.
I mean, he didn't say it in like a sad, oh my God, I've lost someone close to me.
But I felt like he didn't. But I felt like he didn't also say it, and then I'm going to manipulate people with this. I think he just says, I know that is a way that I can get women to open up.
I was getting Shades of Vetus out of that. I mean,
Shades of Vetus.
Yeah.
50 Shades of Vetus.
50 Shades of Vetus is what I was getting from Rodney. But I thought he's got charisma, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do you think? What did you think of Rodney?
Well, I feel very vindicated in that I pounded my fist on the table to say I saw a somance happening with So and Joaquin, and I was right on the money with that. And I also said that I would see a Rodney and Lindsay thing happening. And I think Nicole and maybe Corinne said, no way, that's not happening. And I'm right on the money on that. I am right on it. I'm like Cupid with these survivors this season.
You're like the Jeff Probst of Cupids? No.
Nicely done, Rob.
Yes. I'm locked in with picking out all of the couples.
Who was that? What voice was that? Nicely done, Rob.
That's Jeff Probst.
Nicely done, Rob.
Yeah.
What's that from?
Survivor San Juan del Sur finale.
Was that from Survivor Amazon?
No, it was from Survivor San Juan del Sur finale. All right, Steven, you ready to get into some questions?
I'm always ready. Wait, is there anyone else? Dan? We should talk about Dan, right? What do we think about Dan?
Besides the natural juggling, I think Dan is taking the blue collar thing a little too seriously.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not digging the survivors, and I think that in the white collar tribe, I think that it's Carolyn. I think that she's the person on that tribe, and then maybe
Max.
It might have been Will on the no collar tribe. The person that's like, so every time they talk, they've got to mention about what collar. Oh, we're the white collar people that we have meetings, we do this, we do this. It's
but
like
you know that they were being asked those questions, right? And like they were really like that point was getting hit home hard. You know, everyone on the white collar. Joaquin had one, Max had one, Carolyn had one. Like everyone on the had one. I'm an executive, so I like to see. I mean.
But in 2 episodes, those tribes are going to be gone. So just let's don't marry yourself too much to.
Do you think the mixed tribe names will have something to do with collars?
Yes, they're gonna. Yes, when blue
popped collar.
No, it'll be if blue and white collar, they'll be like the periwinkle collar, and if it's blue and no collar, it's sort of like a flesh. I don't know what that would be.
I like popped collar and V-neck collar. Those are the ones I'm. V-neck is blue collar or is white collar mixed with no collar. I know.
Yeah, that's a strong collar take.
Yeah, it's like the Tyson Apostle of collars.
Yes, Tyson does the V-neck collar well.
Yeah.
He really does.
Yeah.
All right, Stephen, I want to get to some questions. If you've got questions for us about tonight's episode, use hashtag RHAP or post them on this YouTube video if you're watching us live at robinswebsite.com/YouTube. By the way, Stephen, the CBS All Access app, are you familiar?
No.
Oh, the CBS has put all 29 previous seasons of Survivor up for digital download as part of their CBS All Access on CBS.com.
Wow.
It's a premium service. You got to pay for it, but I've got a code for people if they want to get 2 weeks free, 2-week free trial. If you want to watch Stephen Fishbach play in Survivor Token Chains.
Oh, you can't handle that.
You can handle it. You can handle it.
You probably can. If you can handle it.
Yes, if you can handle it. There's an offer code. It's Survivor Fan 1. That's going to expire sometime tomorrow. It's 2 weeks free if you want to try out the CBS All Access app.
Cool. I'll definitely try it. What else is available on the CBS All Access?
All the seasons of Big Brother and Amazing Race and a bunch of other CBS shows.
Oh, that's
Use
awesome.
the link robasawebsite.com/CBS app. robasawebsite.com/CBS app and use the code SurvivorFan1. That's going to expire sometime on Thursday. Okay.
Wait, there's one other thing I wanted to talk about was one of the Rodney moment where he lies about being a general contractor. We've talked on this show about how
he's a cop.
Yeah, exactly. No, he says he's a furniture mover and he's actually a general contractor. Is that the most pointless lie in the history of the show? Like, we talked a lot in 28 about how Tony said he was a crook instead of he said he was a general contractor instead of a cop. Rodney's saying he's a furniture mover instead of a general contractor.
Yeah. Did he used to be a furniture mover?
He used to be, but like, what a stupid lie!
I guess so.
One of the stupid. Why do you're scared of Rodney? You're really like defensive about Rodney.
I'm not scared of Rodney.
What's going on with you?
I'm a little scared of Rodney, but
there's something happening here.
I don't think that Rodney is watching this podcast or anything like that. So I'm not particular.
He's like waiting outside your house or something. What's going on?
No. Oh, I did order some furniture. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see. I ordered this chair that I'm sitting in. So
yeah.
I'm not too scared of Rodney. I don't think we've done anything that's gonna piss him off yet.
Not yet.
I'm sure at some point when we start doing Rodney impressions and that sort of thing. But that being said, for Rodney's lie, I don't know, and you don't know the pecking order of general contractor versus furniture mover. Maybe somebody in the comments, maybe some blue collar people in the comment section could let us know the hierarchy of construction worker, contractor, furniture mover, police officer, firefighter. If you could rank those things for us in terms of
and tankerman.
Tankerman, yeah. That would all be very, very good. All right, Stephen Fishbach, let's get into some questions here tonight. All right, kick us off, Stephen.
Okay, number one question of the season is from Bats2X. This is the first question of the season, so it's going to set the tone for all future questions. Rob and Stephen, do you see anyone who compares, or do you think will play like you did in your seasons? What do you think?
Okay.
Now, who could possibly compare to us, Rob?
The question is, how will Will play this season?
Will? What?
Do you think Will play like you in your season?
Yeah. Is there anyone, Rob, who compares on this season to your season or to you? Someone who you think will play like you?
It's hard to say. I don't know if there's somebody who is sort of like me. I would say that, or what I have said is that I think that Shireen is probably the closest to somebody who is like a Rob Cesternino, and much like a Rob Cesternino, Shireen blew the puzzle in the first episode.
I like Tyler. I feel like he's the he cozied up to the woman with the idol. So I'm gonna say Tyler. And Max. He's obviously Max's. There's a Max element there.
Sure. Okay, so let's go into this question here. This is from None of Your Business.
Oh, how rude. How rude.
I'm rooting for Max to win, but why in the world did he say at Tribal Council that he would have lied better had he been in So and Joaquin's position? Shouldn't that send red flags to the other tribe mates? What is he thinking?
You know what? I got the sense that it was supposed to be Cochran-esque in that idea of like we're all playing the game and we're all we're all deceiving each other. But I agree. Probably not the most politic thing.
Yeah, I think he's feeling safe and secure in his position that he can make a comment like that.
Yeah.
I think that if he was pressed on it, I think he could he left room for himself to say, I'm kidding, I'm joking.
Right.
You guys are so serious, Tribal Council. I mean, he said a couple other flip things that Tribal Council talked about. Jeff asked him, what was your expectations for Tribal Council? And he said, Jeff, my only two wishes were fulfilled by the Survivor gods, a wicked downpour and plenty of drama. He made the joke about Tarzan also at the Tribal Council. So I think that he was in a point and had a good enough rapport with everybody that he left room to say, kidding.
Right.
You got pastored. Yeah, joking. All right.
Lance Davis wants to know, would you guys rather suffer from a taco overload or a scorpion overload?
Both have similar downside, I think.
Yeah, I think I would rather go tacos than scorpions.
Yeah.
As long as you keep burping, I guess you're okay.
Yeah. Is that true with the scorpion also?
True. I looked like it. He was doing something.
Yeah. Don't eat the scorpions.
Yeah.
Don't eat the scorpion. All right. Nick 2S wants to say, would you like to see more challenges where you have to make a strategic decision in the middle of it? Yeah, this is a great point. I love this from the challenge. The rest of the challenge itself wasn't that exciting, but I love the idea of making a strategic decision during the challenge. This is something that was brought up on the podcast when I spoke with Miles Nye, who is a challenge consultant on the show, and he referenced the first challenge from Survivor Palau, which had a great example of this, where in the first challenge of Survivor Palau, it was an obstacle course, and you got to take food items. Okay, you could take the flint, take a bag of rice, take whatever, but it would slow you down. And Tom and the Karor tribe really just took the fire-making kit.
Yeah.
Whereas the Oolong tribe, really the start of the downfall was that they took a whole bunch of other food items with them, and if you won the challenge, you got to keep whatever you had with you. And so it slowed them down, and they ultimately lost. I love when they incorporate strategic decisions into the challenge, and it really is fun.
They also didn't communicate well in Palau. The Oolong tribe, yeah.
No, they did not. That was a trademark of the Oolong tribe. I'm sure there's a ton of other examples of times that they've done stuff like that before. So I really liked that they did that. And I liked that they incorporated that the decisions that they had to make were sort of you knew that they wanted the white-collar tribe to take the 5-piece puzzle.
Yeah,
and
right.
Yeah,
and the blue collar take the visual puzzle, right?
Yes.
Or maybe the blue collar was supposed to take the hardworking 50-piece puzzle.
Yes, no, blue collar, it was supposed to be, because they're dumb, that they were supposed to take the easy puzzle. That was going to be, but if you did hard work, you would get through it.
But the out-of-the-box thinkers and
any simpleton could do this 50-piece puzzle, and it turned out that the Yahoo executive was the person that couldn't do the easy puzzle.
But anyone can be an executive at a big company.
Is that true?
Pretty true. Yeah.
Is that true? And yeah, even the 10-piece puzzle, Jeff kept talking about it like if you have spatial recognition, if you have creative spatial, you can be able to figure out this puzzle here with 10 pieces.
Yeah.
It was like the nuggets. That's the decision that I'm faced with when I go through the drive-through.
How creative spatially you can get with your McNuggets. Can I assemble the 9 pieces into one giant chicken nugget?
Yeah. That's really the big decision. If it's like, oh, I'm like, man, I'm as hungry as a blue collar person. I should get the 50-piece McNugget.
Yeah.
But like, hey, I'm a free spirit. I want to get a 5-piece nugget.
The free spirit gets the McFlurry.
All right, Steve, can you take this question?
Backhoff wants to know, who's your pick to win, Rob? Now that you're the confirmed greatest know-it-all, I won't even ask Steven's pick. His non-greatest know-it-all opinions are like doggy doo-doo. Thanks for making me read this, Rob, and humiliating me. I'm picking Boston Rod.
Wow.
Yeah, no one asked Backhoff.
Know-it-all. Steven, well, I have said in my preseason predictions that I picked Shireen to win the pick, but we don't really get to hear from you in the preseason, so I'm curious to know, do you have a pick for this season? Don't get into winner's edit or anything like that. Why can't we get into your preseason pick?
There's a lot of people with potential winners edits. I didn't really have a preseason pick. I've been trying. For a few years, I really got into the preseason content and watched it all. And I thought that I was like over determining my viewing of the show through like obsessive analysis of the preseason stuff. So I'm trying now to come into the show like a newborn babe and just be touched by the beauty of the show itself. So I could truly understand.
Give me your episode 1 winner pick then.
The people I like are Jen, Joe, Tyler, Carolyn.
Yes. You had like 6 picks.
Why?
I'd ask Nicole if I wanted this kind of insight.
Increases my odds. Mike, I like Mike too. And I'm waiting to see if there's any other. I like Tyler and Jen a lot, and Joe, and Carolyn and Mike.
All right. Let's take a question from Carlos V1031. Does So being voted out first solidify the fact you should never go for the idol clue on day 1 and lie to your whole tribe? What are the lessons we could take away from leaving so soon?
Well, if you lie to your whole tribe, don't make the lie terrible.
That's a good point.
That's the number 1 lesson. Like,
well, Morgan didn't get voted out. Actually, no, she had a good lie. That was
Morgan's lie was great.
Yeah. Garrett had bad lies.
Yeah, Garrett's lies were terrible. What are the other lessons? This was the big lesson, right? This was the actual lesson. When the tribe seems to be building a consensus, don't go against that consensus, right?
Yeah, I thought one of the things she did poorly was when Tyler came to her and said, well, I guess it's... Oh, no, I'm sorry, she was talking... Was it with Max or Tyler? But
Max came to her.
Yeah, it was Max. And Max
immediately selling out his ally, Shireen.
Yes. Yes, and she tried to change it. She got it changed off of Shireen to Carolyn.
Yeah.
And I wonder, potentially, if she would have said, you know what, Max, you're making a lot of sense. I like this plan. Let's vote out Shireen. Now, maybe it was Max baiting her and trying to get information, but it seemed like, maybe the fact that Carolyn had the idol, maybe that was a decision that made Tyler ultimately switch, because there really was no decision for Tyler once he finds out that Carolyn has the idol, and the choice is between the person with the idol or So, unless he just wants to flush the idol.
But it seemed like when Tyler came over to Carolyn, though, it didn't seem to be just like he was like digging for information, right? He seemed to like want to be like, hey, I like you. Like it wasn't like he just like she happened to be like, oh, I've got the idol. He was like, I want to keep you around, but you're in trouble. Like it seemed to me like he was really he wanted to build something with her.
Yeah, I really wonder, had she stuck with Shireen though, maybe would the tide have shifted? Because it would have been her and Joaquin, and maybe get Tyler to stick with the strong tribe, and then ultimately, if push comes to shove, does Max end up turning on Shireen there?
Right.
And is Shireen the first person voted out? Oh my God.
I know. It would have been a very your winner pick, first person voted out. Then who would be the best know-it-all? Not you. Certainly not you.
Yeah, but we didn't bet on it. We didn't bet on it. Okay. Let's keep going. But I do think that the lesson is that learn from Sandra.
Yeah.
Sandra, her strategy is anybody but me. If you come to Sandra and say, like, Sandra, what do you think? Should we vote out Shireen tonight? No, not Shireen, Carolyn.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, that's good. Whatever you want to do. That's good.
That's exactly right. Anybody but me. I think she could have, it was dangerous, right? She lied to the tribe. She was part of this duo. She was the weaker of the two. But coming out of the challenge, she probably looked pretty good and really might have.
That's what Joaquin said.
Yeah.
Also, Joaquin very quickly volunteered the, hey, on my New York honor.
Yeah, I didn't even get that. What was that supposed to mean?
Steven, do you have New York pride on your love of the city of New York in the
York,
wine
like,
and cheese?
fills you with anger towards people, right? You're constantly being like shoved into tight subways with them and like hitting them in your commute, and in Times Square is just a mass of people elbowing each other out of the way. Like, I never like people less than when I'm in New York. So
Yes. What about if you're somewhere else and you see somebody from New York?
I mean, I will assume they're going to be like, elbowing me in the face in Times Square someday. My God, get rid of them. Vote them out of the tribe.
I liked Carolyn, too.
Yeah. You're from New York. What do you do? You have a New York sense of honor?
Yeah, I think that if you are not in New York and you see and you meet somebody else from New York, like, hey, New York, New York. Like,
Is that true of anyone? Like, hey, yeah, blue shirt. You're wearing a blue shirt like me.
Yes. All right. So let's go to Crystal Palmer, who says, do you expect Vince to be so clingy and aggressive? So much for free-spirited. Yeah, he wasn't very free-spirited. Although
free spirit.
I do think that, though, sometimes you do get people who are sort of like, out there, but that also means that they're crazier also. More
Well, the thing about, like, no collar is that it's like people who, basically, if you're white collar or blue collar, you're being forced to work with other people. You're being forced to, like, collaborate, to make compromises, to take orders from bosses that you might not agree with, to manage people who you might have problems with. So inherently in those relationships, like, you're dealing with people. Sort of opting out of the system doesn't mean you're better at dealing with people. It actually kind of means you're worse.
Yeah. The No Collar Tribe is going to be very fun. Although I am a little disappointed that I feel like Vince is really the only wacko on the No Collar Tribe.
What about the YouTube sensation? He's going to make sandwiches, man.
Yeah. Why do you keep saying that? Why do you keep saying I'm making sandwiches?
Not clear.
And Jeff is like, Will, what do you mean? Like, I'm making sandwiches.
Do you think like he's always trying to go viral, like trying to imagine like the next crazy viral thing he could do?
Yeah. Steven, when he says that he is a YouTube sensation, does that annoy you at all?
You mean because like I am not a YouTube sensation?
No, I just feel like that he did not make the video.
Is he like PewDiePie? Like he's like the hottest guy?
No, it's not like there's no. It's not like he has the Will Make Sandwiches YouTube channel.
It sounds like a great YouTube channel.
Yeah, if it's not his channel, I feel like he's not a YouTube sensation.
Right. What was
I guess if you meant like Charlie Bit My Finger.
Right.
But I would imagine like Charlie's dad put the video on YouTube.
But Charlie's the sensation.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. He's the one doing the biting.
I don't know, but maybe this is all that Will's gonna like open up like a sandwich chain.
That actually, maybe it is. That's like the way to do it, right? Is to Will's gonna prove us all wrong.
I guess so.
Yeah.
All right. Let's take a couple more questions. Chris Tutak says, would you consider yourself a filet mignon or steakums? I think that was the sandwich that he was gonna make. Steakums.
What? Wow. I don't even know what steakums is.
It's sort of like a microwave or like toaster like Philly cheesesteak.
Oh, sounds delicious.
Well, on paper, but it's probably like the worst thing you could eat in terms of like it's just like a microwavable like sandwich.
I would choose filet mignon then.
Yeah.
Rob Cesternino, why didn't Joaquin take any heat for the deceit decision? What did you think about that?
Because he was seen as just being sort of like the big dumb guy, and Stowe was seen as sort of like the brains of the operation.
Do you think there's any element to that thing that you were saying earlier? Just like that people are being really, like they're just accepting that they're lying to each other, and they're like, they lied to us. So what?
Yeah, I think that Joaquin just got off easy because I don't think he talked too much. I think that was the one who was just saying all of these lies, and she was the one that talked probably 3 or 4 times more than Joaquin. And plus, Joaquin was probably they deemed him to be physically strong in the challenges, even though So was good at untying knots.
So was the one who came back with that story, and they even had that like scene between her and Joaquin where So was saying. Is this a good story? And Joaquin was like, well, if you can sell it, it's fine. Like, it was clearly a terrible story. I mean, do you think Joaquin kind of threw her under the bus?
I don't think he threw her under the bus. I think he kind of thought that she was going to be his right-hand woman. Like, I think he's going to be annoyed that she's not there. Steve, in the chat room, many people in the chat room are saying that it was very white-collar of you to not know what steakums are.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. The world is filled with things to know.
You're coming off very
all know
bougie.
everything.
Yes.
Yeah,
Very
I am a
bougie,
know-it-all,
Stephen
but I'm
Fishbach.
the second best know-it-all. I would know if I were the first best know-it-all.
All right, Stephen, take this question.
All right, the basketball boss wants to know, I had Mike as my winner's pick. By the end of episode 1, he shoved a scorpion in his mouth, vomited up the scorpion, and then bombed in the challenge. He had stepped up and won the challenge for Blue Collar. Should I regret my decision? #RHAP.
Yeah, I don't think you should get off of Mike as your winner just because he ate the scorpion. I think that was just sort of like a cute thing.
Don't regret decisions. You can't live like that. You got to look forward. Don't look backwards.
That's right. Okay. Here's one from Jim Rosario. Says, where did you rank this first episode? Did it meet Jeff Probst's hype? Now, Jeff did call this the best. He said he thinks it's the best premiere that they've ever had. I think that in hindsight, I think that might be a bit hyperbolic, Stephen.
I think this is always a problem, right? Where they go out and they hype these seasons, and then you come in with such high expectations that there's basically nothing you can do to live up to it. I definitely think we've seen much better premieres. I thought the Heroes versus Villains premiere was better than this. The Caramoan premiere was great, where Francesca goes home. Not that I enjoyed her going home, but just the hilarity of someone getting voted out twice.
Yeah, there's a couple of really classic, fantastic premieres.
I mean, the Philippines premiere I remember being great.
No?
I
don't know. I'd say maybe this might be better than the Survivor Philippines premiere.
I don't really remember it.
The Survivor Pearl Islands premiere, I think that might be the premiere.
I mean, Survivor Tocantins, where the world was introduced to me. There's so many great premieres. In
fairness, I think the Survivor Amazon premiere is also a very good one. The whole men versus women thing for the first time, and Dan Liu falling off the log 100 times. So I don't think this is the best premiere. I kept waiting for. I really thought that Carolyn was going to play the idol, and I thought that was what was going to put it over the top. So, Stephen, do we potentially think that maybe we've been keep hearing this is the great season, fantastic season, this is the best cast we've ever had, this is the best premiere that we've ever done. So, do we maybe have a little bit of the questionable, are we scratching our heads and saying that maybe do we have to re-examine any of this stuff? Or
I think saying the best is a mistake for them. I think they should go out and be like, it's a great season, you're going to like it a lot, and then let us be delighted and surprised and get behind it. I think when you go out into the season hearing it's the best, it's the best, it's the best, you get so excited in the lead up, and it's inherently a letdown. And you could argue, well, that's just this small contingent of people who, like you and me, were really in this mix. We're hearing this from all sides. The broad mass of people aren't having that, but we're the ones who are hearing it. Don't say it. Anyway, so my point is, I wish the hype were less, and we could really discover the season for ourselves.
Yeah, and it was a great premiere. I just don't know if it was number one if we're ranking them 1 to 30.
Yeah, it was really an enjoyable episode.
Yeah, top 10 maybe. Who knows?
I don't know. I can't rank the premiere. Heroes versus Villains wasn't. I think I already mentioned that a couple of times.
Yeah.
Fan versus Favorites was a great premiere with the Yao Man and Johnny Fairplay fighting each other. And
that was good. Better than the San Juan del Sur premiere.
That was last season.
Yeah.
I have no recollection of what happened in that season. No idea what happened.
All right, let's do one more question with Stephen Fishbach. She-Man32. How did Shireen get away with not even getting her name brought up? She's that good.
Yeah, she's that good.
Yeah. All right, let's do one more question if we have one.
All right, I'm gonna be
that was a short one.
Rotten_Rye Ryan wants to know. I think F.Y. Maxwell needs a Tyson Apostle like Blur.
All right, well we're going there. That was Scott St. Pierre's taking us out with a Blur question.
Yeah.
All right, Stephen, what's your take on would you like to see more blurring on Survivor?
What's the objection? It's next episode, right? That he's.
I don't know.
Naked?
Well, I think that but I watch an East Coast feed and my picture is not that good. I cannot make out who has bulges that need to get blurred.
Oh wow, he's got a blurrable bulge.
I don't know. Well, we'll have to see. When I watch the
something.
West Coast version tonight, I'll be able to give you a better read on that.
Wow, I'm not ready for that.
Or
I don't know
Josh.
if I want to read on that.
Yes. All right. Stephen Fishbach, fantastic. I give you my New York word. 2 weeks from tonight, we will be together once again.
That's so exciting.
Yes, it's so exciting.
Yeah.
So hopefully all the New Yorkers will come out and see us for the sold out show.
I've heard there's a lot of people who are coming out, right? I mean, who knows? They're so flaky, but
yeah, we hope so. If everybody shows up who says they're coming, then I'm totally screwed as far as my guest list. But if like the reality factor of like, oh yeah, I'll be there, then we'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay, Steven, did you happen to catch this week the Survivor Roundtable?
I did. I saw it. I saw a portion of it. It was you and John Cochran and Parvati and Sandra and Jeff Probst. It was some surprise guests.
Yes, it looked like we were going to play Reality Game Masters again. I was very excited.
Seeing Cochran stumble to victory yet again.
Yes, once again. Yeah. But it was a very fun time. Jeff was in a really good mood, and it was very, very fun to get together with the survivors. If you haven't seen that, it's on the Survivor YouTube channel, but it's about a 45-minute video talking about.
Wow, that's like an episode of Survivor. Were there blind sides?
No, only off camera. Yeah, it was fine.
Oh wow.
Yeah. No, it was a very, very, very fun day, and I was really excited to go and do that. Yeah, and Steven, and then I also went to another Survivor thing that day at the Paley Center. They had a big all of the photos that have been taken. They had like a big display, they
have great photography. They have really, really good photography, and the photographers do an amazing job of capturing these moments. Like you don't even looking back when you look at the season photos, you're like, what, that happened? What a perfect perfect action shot, and against like a beautiful background. You got to give it up for the cinematography of the show and the photography and just all of the gorgeous shots that go into it. No matter what you say about whether or not San Juan del Sur was a terrible season, it's a beautifully shot show.
Yeah, you liked it by the end.
John Mish, winner.
You were just upset that John Mish didn't win.
Yeah.
But it was very good. All right, Steven, do you have a hashtag to give people from this episode?
Oh God, what were you going to say? Something meltdown? Hashtag. What was it? Like idle meltdown or something?
No, hug meltdown.
Hug meltdown. Yeah, I think hug meltdown is perfect.
Very good job, Steven.
Yeah.
Hug meltdown. All right, hug meltdown it is. All right, so Steven, tomorrow morning I'm going to be talking with So.
Wow, that's crazy. So ask her some questions. Ask her about what she thinks of things.
Yeah, it's going to be so confusing. There was literally a point in the episode where I believe Carolyn asked her, so, who are you voting for? And I said, there's never been a more confusing comment on Survivor. All right, and then, of course, we will get to your Miss Survivor and winner of Survivor San Juan del Sur, Steven's favorite season, will be joining me on the podcast tomorrow.
Great winner, though. Not, bad season, great winner.
Okay, and we'll get the question thread up on Facebook as well from you guys. Plus, I will be taking your voicemails with Josh Wigler. Get your voicemails in robhasawebsite.com/voicemail 323-282-RHAP. Steven, who are you giving a fishy to tonight?
Can we talk about this for just a second?
Let's talk it through. Carolyn Fishy.
So here's my thinking with Carolyn, right? Like she susses out what's going on with the idol, then finds the idol. She susses out that her name is on the block, flips the script, not a vote against her. Well, 2 votes against her, but doesn't go home. Susses out that she doesn't need to play her idol, doesn't play the idol. I thought from a pure strategy perspective, Carolyn came out better than anybody.
I'm surprised you didn't give it to your boy Tyler.
Tyler, I'm giving an honorable mention to Tyler because I did think Tyler did a really good job.
Because I felt like Carolyn, she did manage to avoid elimination in this episode, but I felt like she didn't come away from the episode with a lot of power.
Well, but she's got the idol. I thought she did. I agree with you. I think that's a great way of actually thinking about it. Like, did she come away with a lot of power?
And I think that Tyler is the one. Not only is he the swing vote, not only is he in a great position, he also knows about the whereabouts of the idol.
Yeah.
And I feel like if he wants to, he could out Carolyn.
Right.
He kind of was the kingmaker in this episode of deciding which side he was going to go with.
Yeah.
He had I did like Tyler's position in this episode.
No, I like Tyler a lot. I mean, I give honorable mention to Tyler. So.
And I wonder, you brought it up earlier, I wonder if he's going to be the guy who has like the Spencer thing going on this season, where he like talks up a big game of being the bad guy pre-season, but then ultimately is not that way on the show.
I mean, that was sort of the vibe I got, like someone who really knows the show, likes villains, but when he gets out there is like more concerned with playing a strong game and like not flying under the radar necessarily, but not doing stupid stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
We will see next week. Very excited for episode number 2 of Survivor Worlds Apart. We're going to be locked in here for months and months of coverage. Make sure you get in on this. Subscribe to the podcast here. You're going to thank us 3 months from now and say, wow, thanks for all the podcasts, guys. Go to robhasawebsite.com/iTunes or get yourself a Rob Has a Podcast app. Stephen Fishbach, fantastic to be back here on a Wednesday.
Yeah, it's great. It really is great.
I feel like we picked up right where we left off. Boom, boom, boom.
That's it. We talked about the one thing we talk about.
That's right. That's right. Well, one day, hopefully, we'll get to talk about other stuff.
Yeah, we're good.
I have so many other things to talk to you about.
Yeah. I'll talk to you soon, Rob.
All right. Take care, everybody. Have a great night. See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye. Bye.